Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our research today. Our group will present our poster entitled Transitivity Analysis of Taylor Swift's Instagram post. Now, this research was conducted for the Grammar and Discourse course for Class D2. Now, I would like to introduce my group members. This presentation is conducted by Aura Azra Akila, Fahri Indisa Yusuf, Hana Tafia Tangkubulan, and myself, Kayla Kanahaya. Each of us will explain different parts of this poster. Now, before we move into the analysis, I would like to briefly explain about the background. All right. Now, in today's digital era, social media platforms, especially Instagram, have become important spaces for public figures to communicate with their audience. Beyond sharing information, social media is often used to express emotions, construct identity, and present personal narratives. Taylor Swift is one example of a public figure who frequently uses poetic and metaphorical language in her Instagram posts to convey her thoughts and feelings. Now, one of her Instagram posts related to her album titled The Tortured Poets Department stood out because of its literary style and emotional depth. For this reason, our group analyzed the post using transitivity analysis, which is part of systemic functional linguistics. This approach focuses on the ideational metafunction of language and helps us examine how experiences are represented through process types, participant roles, and circumstances. Through this analysis, we aim to understand how language is used to construct meaning, identity, and emotional expression in a social media context. For the next part, I will hand over the presentation to the first presenter. Thank you.
Okay, so the next one is the purpose. There are three purpose or our aims to achieve in our studies. The first one is to identify and analyze the process types that represent in the Taylor Swift Instagram post. The second one is to identify the participant and analyze the participant roles in the Taylor Swift Instagram post. And the last one is to identify and analyze the circumstances that can be found in the Instagram post in constructing the meaning. The next one, I will hand it on to my friend.
All right, so next I will explain the findings of the study. So first, the process types, which is material processes, are used to represent actions or events, although they are expressed in a metaphorical way rather than physical actions. This can be seen in the clause "and so I enter to evidence," where the verb enter functions as a material process. So here, Taylor actively positions herself and her experiences as evidence, which shows against seeing and intentional self-representation. And for the another material process appears in the clause, my muses occurred like breezes. The verb occurred represents a process of obtaining, while the phrase like breezes emphasizes that creativity is gained through struggle and emotional pain. These material processes construct experience and something actively endured and achieved. So next, second, mental processes, which involve thinking, feeling, or sensing, are not explicitly realized in the text. There are no verbs such as think, feel, or believe. Instead, emotional and physiological experiences are conveyed indirectly through metaphorical and symbolic language. This absence of mental processes suggests that the poem expresses emotion implicitly, contributing to its poetic and introspective tone. So for next, the explanation of the relational and existential processes will be discussed.
Okay, for the relational and essential process, relational process appear implicitly through metaphorical constructions rather than through explicit relational verbs such as is, on, are. For example, in the clause, my Turnist coat of arms. The noun praise functions relationally by attributing a specific quality, Turnist, to coat of arms, which symbolically represents the speaker's identity or reputation. And for the existential processes in the Instagram posts are also expressed indirectly. One example can be found in the praise the tick 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 of love bombs. Although the essential verbs there is or are is not explicitly used, the repetitive ticking implies the existence of an ongoing emotional pressure or threat. And for the next one will be explained by Kana.
All right, thank you, Fahri. Now, for the next findings that I had it's pretty simple. The first person participant, which is I, dominates the poem as the main actor and censor, highlighting its personal and introspective nature. And the next one will be presented by Anna.
Okay, so the last findings from our analysis is the circumstances. So the circumstances that we found in the past function are not to give extra information in real world settings, but more to amplify emotional meaning. In the circumstance, by using metaphorical circumstances of manner, quality, and time, the text construct a poetic representation of creativity, pain, and identity. So this circumstantial choice support the broader discourse of tortured poet persona, where emotional experience is prioritized over concrete situational details. And the next one for methodology will be explained by my friend.
Okay. For the methodology for our research, this research employs a qualitative descriptive method based on systemic functional linguistics, or SFL, to analyze linguistic elements from a handwritten Instagram post published on Taylor Swift official account, Taylor Swift, on February 5, 2024. The data consists of clauses and phrases taken from the post and were collected by transcribing the text and segmenting it into clauses as the main unit of analysis. This data were then analyzed using Holiday's transitivity system to identify process types and participant roles, and the results were interpreted to explain how experiential meanings related to identify creativity and emotional expression are constructed. And next will be explained by my friend.
Okay, so for the measurement of this study is ensured through validity and reliability. Validity is achieved by applying Halliday's transitivity system to analyze clauses from an authentic source, Taylor Swift official Instagram post. So for the reliability is maintained through consistent clause segmentation and the use of the same transitivity criteria across all data, allowing the analysis to be systematic and replicable.
All right. Now, to conclude our presentation, the findings indicate that the text is dominated by material, relational, and existential processes, which represent actions, states of being, and emotional presence. The frequent use of first person participants highlights the personal and introspective nature of the poetry, while circumstances of manner, quality, and time strengthen its poetic and metaphorical meaning rather than providing literal details. Now, this analysis demonstrates that transitivity analysis is a useful approach for uncovering how language in social media poetry constructs identity, creativity, and emotional experiences. Now, that concludes our presentation. Thank you all so much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.